Yep, Tornadus seems like a reasonable Pokemon to sack here. It's Life Orb Ursaluna. They decorate it, but it drops to the Hydro Pump, and they forfeit. All right, I don't know why I almost want to re-record the way I talked about this team early on, because it's actually playing very smoothly so far. Shows what I know, huh? Here's another team that made top cut at the recent Vancouver Regional Championship. This one used by a fellow Canadian, Jean-Ulysses Serrano-Auberne. In fact, I've played him a couple of times in Toronto, and then there he was on stream in Vancouver. But, yeah, so last week when I featured that hard Trick Room team, I kept the opening spiel very short because it was a simple team, easy to understand. That doesn't mean that it's bad or anything, just fairly straightforward in what it wants to do. This time, I just don't understand this team. And I want to be very clear when I say things like that. I am not saying that it's not a good team. It definitely is a good team. It just made top cut at a major. But a lot of the way this team is built is outside of my personal understanding of the format. That's all that I mean when I say that kind of thing. It might be tricky for me to play today because I don't have much insight into some of the building choices that were made here. And especially in a format like Regulation G, the Pokemon are chosen for very specific roles with very specific ideas behind them. Someone who made top cut has probably fleshed out their game plans into all the common matchups. And when I see this and I don't necessarily know what's going on, that's a me problem, but it might be how it goes in this one. We'll see. There are some parts of this that are fairly straightforward, of course. The Tornadus and Rapid Strike Urshifu duo is well known at this point. Tornadus able to set up the set up the Tailwind for all of its teammates, but yeah, also the Rain Dance to boost the power of that Surging Strikes from the Scarf Urshifu. And then Landorus is a great combo with those three because, of course, it benefits from the rain with Sandsear Storm. It benefits from the Tailwind being able to hit things extremely hard and being a fairly fast Pokemon, but not the fastest. So very nice little 3 Pokemon core there. But I don't know why the restricted Pokemon on this team is Zacian. I can kind of try to guess because Zacian is one of the fastest restricteds. I believe it's not as fast as Shadow Rider Calyrex, but it is faster than Koraidon, Miraidon, as well as Pokemon like Fluttermane. So it may be a meta call in response to Koraidon winning EUIC. I was going to say doing very well there, but that's putting it mildly. And Zacian does have the Terra Water to help it take fire-type attacks in particular. It's not running the Terra Ground that you often see from Miraidon. I'm not sure if you ever used a Zacian without Terra Ground and Reg G before, but of course this team does have the Landorus to help into Miraidon. So it's, between those Pokemon at least, it's a fast offensive team that has some offensive techs for some of the other offensive teams that are doing well right now. Then there's the Wash Rotom. This is, I think, the Pokemon that got the most attention in Vancouver. It's definitely an unusual pick right now. I think the best guess I have for it is that it exists to deal with Ice Rider Calyrex, because Rotom Wash form on paper, Wash form specifically on paper is, it looks like a very strong check to Ice Rider because it naturally resists the Glacial Lance. It has Levitate, so it's immune to high horsepower. It has Will-O-Wisp to reduce Calyrex's damage output, and Foul Play, able to hit back hard on an unburned Calyrex. It also, being a water type and running the Hydro Pump, benefits from rain, boosting its own damage a little bit. So that all makes sense to me. I'm not necessarily sure why it's the pick for this team, especially when I've used Zacian in the past in Reg G. I've generally found that it matches up well into Ice Rider Calyrex to begin with. Although this is very different from any Zacian team I've tried before, so it may be that Rotom is needed, or maybe that Rotom is also for something else that I haven't thought of. And then the Pokemon that I'm having the hardest time thinking about, or that I did before I started recording, is this Assault Vest Okidogi. Okidogi is a Pokemon that I don't have much experience with, and I don't necessarily know what it brings to this team, but I do have a couple of guesses. Number one, I think that Terra Grass Assault Vest Okidogi is on paper a very good Pokemon for blowing up a lot of balance cores in this format, including things like Shadow Rider balance teams. It's probably one of the best single Pokemon you can get to match up into Rillaboom, Incineroar, or Urshifu stuff, maybe even Raging Bolt with the Grass Terra and the Assault Vest. It should be strong into Incineroar Amoonguss, because of course Guard Dog gives it an attack boost when it's intimidated, and again you have the Grass Terra for Spore immunity and Rage Powder immunity. With the Assault Vest, it can probably take a hit from, well, I'm sure it could take a hit from Shadow Rider, especially if you Terra out of the Psychic weakness. And then it also could be useful into some opposing offensive teams, because with Upper Hand you can deny a priority Tailwind from Tornadus or Whimsicott. So Okie Dokie was the Pokemon that made the least sense to me at face value, but the more I think about it, the more I can see a number of matchups where it probably does bring some value to this team. All of that said, this is still going to be a relatively difficult one for me to figure out, not because of any issue with the team, but because of the limits of my perspective as a player. Very much a me problem, as usual. But, you know, maybe I can figure some things out on the fly. Otherwise, it's going to be an interesting time. Right off the bat, we get World Championship Miraidon stuff. So I like Landorus in this matchup quite a bit. What else do I like here? I like Landorus. Rotom could be good, actually, into, like, Iron Hands and what's probably a Rapid Strike or Shifu. Resist the Surging Strikes. You can burn these Pokemon. So that's another use case for Rotom on this team, maybe. So I probably want to bring Tornadus, Landorus, Rotom. Yeah, Tornadus can set up Rain for Landorus or Tailwind. Either one is good, depending on what we see on the other side of the field. So I think a Tornadus Landorus lead is pretty reasonable here. Rotom in the back, and then I should probably just bring my restricted Pokemon if I don't know what else to do. What does this Zacian have? It does have Play Rough. Yeah, alright, I'll bring Zacian. And that can outspeed Miraidon and hit it with a Play Rough, or a Behemoth Blade if it Terra Fairies. So actually, that's a little bit more insight maybe into what the Zacian is doing here. I think I want to Terra Water Landorus immediately and click Rain Dance and Sandsear Storm. Get all the damage I can on these two Pokemon. They might set Trick Room, and that's not great for me, but I don't have a way to deny it. But I can do a lot of damage here. So yeah, Terra Water, so Landorus can take Surging Strikes, Rain Dance, Sandsear Storm. They just detect with their Shifu. They're just going for that Trick Room setup? Sandsear does half to Farigiraf, not bad, but I mean, hopefully Landorus gets another attack off here. And you know what? Given that they're under pressure to attack the Landorus, I'm going to go ahead and click Bleak Wind Storm too. And that, of course, also is guaranteed to hit in the rain. And there's not much that they can switch in safely here, right? I mean, all of their Pokemon are weak to one of these two attacks, except the Farigiraf, but we just saw it take half from a Sandsear Storm. So they kind of have to just attack through it. Oh, I'm running a slow Tornadus too, because it's a Covert Cloak set, and my instinct when I see those is to run a lot of bulk. So it actually goes before the Urshifu there, and they knock out Tornadus, but I get 2 KOs back. That feels pretty good. I'll go Rotom here and save Zacian for hopefully when the Trick Room has worn off or is about to. We see Iron Hands here and Miraidon. Miraidon is not going to have a good time playing in this Trick Room right now. I can just protect Landorus around a very obvious possible Fake Out. And I'll just go for a Will-O-Wisp into Iron Hands. I don't have Protect on the Rotom. And I think they're more likely to Fake Out Landorus anyway, because they want to keep Miraidon healthy and knock out the Water-type Landorus here. They actually Electro Drift into Rotom and just clean KO it, so I got that call wrong, but Landorus should be really well positioned now this next turn. Iron Hands is burned. I do land my first Will-O-Wisp of the video. And I can just go for a big Sandsear Storm, I think. Unless Earth Power is better for some reason, but I can't see why it would be. And I'll click Play Rough into Miraidon. This is the second last turn of Trick Room, but they probably don't have Protect on either of these Pokemon. So if they don't knock out Landorus here, it probably just beats them on the next turn. And that should create an opening for Zacian to get this attack off, because I think they have to prioritize Landorus here. If Landorus doesn't just get 2 clean KOs this turn, or even just KOing the Miraidon would pretty much seal it, because the Iron Hands is burned. So this was a good first game with this team, I think. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing. Terra Water, Iron Hands. Okay. That still did some damage. That Quark Drive boost. But yeah, the Sandsear Storm does just knock out the Miraidon. And actually, I can protect through the last turn of Trick Room here. And then these two Pokemon will be faster than Iron Hands, which is burned and at 11%. I can just Sacred Sword it. So for all that I talked about not understanding this team, I mean, I did give it a fair bit of thought before I started playing, so I think I got some insights, but this was a good demonstration of the kind of thing that it can do. And I feel like I've been saying for at least a couple weeks now that I really like Landorus in the current meta. It just feels like a Pokemon that a lot of teams have trouble dealing with, or at least that's been my experience playing with a lot of teams. So I think that was a good call for the regional for sure. And yeah, that duo of Landorus and Tornadus had such strong coverage into that Miraidon team there, and kept up the pressure very nicely to set up a cozy endgame for me. Here is an Ice Rider Smeargle team. I'm recording this right after the other Vancouver one. Is this the same team I played in that? And got crushed by? I'm not sure. Can go back if you want and check the opponent's username. That might be a little Easter egg there. How do I play into this? So again, Rotom is should be very strong into Ice Rider. It sort of feels tailor-made to check that specific restricted on paper. I actually think I like a Zacian lead here, or maybe an Urshifu lead, but something that gets a lot of pressure onto Farigiraf right away. Even Okidogi's not... I don't think this is an Okidogi matchup. I think I'm going to lead Urshifu Tornadus. I can click Rain Dance and Surging Strikes. And maybe, I don't know if that probably doesn't KO outright, but do a lot of work, a lot of damage. And then I think I'll bring Zacian and Rotom in the back. I do not know that this is correct, but it feels like I have a lot of pressure early on again, which is something that this team seems to be good at. That said, the Smeargle is just going to fake out my Urshifu, so... Whoops. That's not great. But I don't have Protect, so I guess I'll just make them prove it. Armor Tail will stop a taunt from Tornadus, so I'll just click Rain Dance. Yeah, they fake out Urshifu. Do they Trick Room or attack? Yeah, of course they Trick Room. I could Terra Grass Urshifu, and at least it'll take less from a Psychic and be immune to Spore. Actually, the Spore immunity feels big here. I am going to do that. I still want to get rid of Farigiraf if I can. And I'll just Bleak Wind. They can put Torn to sleep if they want, but I don't think that's going to be their priority. They do target it with a Psychic. And yeah, that Spore immunity comes in handy here, as this will knock out Farigiraf. And the Bleak Wind did a little over half to Smeargle. Of course, they can Spore Tornadus if they want, or they could just Glacial Lance. Oh no. I played right into that one, huh? I can slow the Calyrex down by switching out both of my Pokemon here, but I definitely feel like I'm playing catch-up already. After they got that turn 1 Trick Room. I mean, the Glacial Lance doesn't do much. They can high horsepower the Zacian now. They also have the Decorate Smeargle attack that I featured last week. Yeah, okay. How are we feeling about just a foul play into Calyrex? I like it. It's a +2 attack. And I'll protect Zacian this turn. But, okay, on the high horsepower, nice. But Zacian is in danger. Rotom has the safety goggles, coming in clutch there, avoiding the Spore from Smeargle. And this is why piling on Spore immunities can be handy, right? Between Urshifu's Terra and Rotom's item, they haven't been able to put anything to sleep yet. Ursaluna comes in on the last turn of Trick Room. I think I'm just going to go right for a Hydro Pump into that, and I'll switch Zacian out to Tornadus to kill this last turn. Yep, Tornadus seems like a reasonable Pokemon to sack here. It's Life Orb Ursaluna. They decorate it, but it drops to the Hydro Pump, and they forfeit. Alright, I don't know why I almost want to re-record the way I talked about this team early on, because it's actually playing very smoothly so far. Shows what I know, huh? That might be the opening clip to this video. just like pre-butting my own ramble. This This is World Championship Miraidon again. Is this the same player? I hope the ladder's not that dead right now. I'm just going to do the same mode again. But if it is the same player, maybe they'll have an adjustment. Iron Hands for a Graph, okay. Well, then I don't feel pressured to Terra the Landorus right now. They also, I don't think I showed the Covert Cloak on Tornadus last game, so if this is the same player, they might not know. Now they do fake out the Landorus, so I guess they might have known. They're still not well positioned to do damage to it right now. Tornadus is kind of threatened by the Iron Hands. I could Terra Dark, but it doesn't feel like a great use of my Terra right now. That might not be that terrible, actually. Bleak Wind Storm would be nice to land. But I don't know if Bleak Wind Storm is the difference in knocking anything out here. The alternative, I think, is to switch to Rotom. Rotom probably... yeah, I'm going to switch to Rotom. It probably still takes a lot from a wild charge. Oh, they actually heavy slam Landorus. Ah, they knock it out. Okay, they got me. Alright. Yeah. That's how it goes sometimes in this game. I'm going to go Zacian here because I can... it is kind of giving away the Intrepid Sword boost, but I can protect around turn of Trick Room and then potentially switch out. And I don't have Protect on the other Pokemon available right now. But I'm going to go for the burn into the Iron Hands. But I'm losing Landorus like that really sets me back here. That's pretty rough. They're taking some time with this one, though. Terra Water. Is this the same opponent? Low kick into Zacian. Burn Iron Hands, so that's something. I think in this position I might even be able to just leave Zacian in and attack with the Intrepid Sword boost, at least for now. So I'll go for a big Behemoth Blade and Hydro Pump double up into Farigiraf. A low kick still does decent damage, but Zacian's surviving. We knock out Farigiraf, so they can't get Trick Room back up, but that might be too little too late. We'll see. There's their Urshifu. So Rotom will be slower than that. I can try to burn it. But then what? I could Terra Water Zacian, but in front of this Iron Hands that is still hitting pretty hard despite being burned, I'm not sure I want to do that. So I think I'm going to go Tornadus here. But I will go for the Will-O-Wisp on Urshifu. Probably as a Focus Sash, and I'm not confident that Thunderbolt KOs anyway. Ah, Miraidon comes in. We burn the Urshifu. I think I've landed every Will-O-Wisp so far, so... Is this really a Vancouver team? Well, anyway. I can get Tailwind here. That'll give me the speed advantage a little bit longer. And I can chip Miraidon. I might need to chip Miraidon. Or I can just Thunderbolt the Urshifu. I'm not even sure Miraidon stays in. It might Volt Switch. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt into Urshifu. Okay, they detect. Sure. Miraidon's probably taking a KO here. Yeah. So that means I pretty much need Zacian to sweep. And at this HP, in front of an Urshifu, it's easier said than done. I'm still going to Protect to get around Fake Out. And I'll Thunderbolt Urshifu again. Yeah, there's the Fake Out. Ooh, just missed the KO on Urshifu, so this Surging Strikes will go through. Zacian does survive, but just barely. I actually still can win, I think. If this Play Rough one-shots Miraidon, it can't Terra. And Rotom, I guess, will follow up with a Hydro Pump. Or is Foul Play better? Probably not. Doesn't quite one-shot. Come on, Rotom. Oh, he missed the Hydro Pump. No! Okay, but I still have one more turn of Tailwind. I still have a chance to land it. And it KOs. Okay. All right. I might still lose to Iron Hands. I don't know, but it looks like it'll take 3 more Drain Punches to knock out Rotom. And let's see what this Thunderbolt does back. Okay, some chip. Okay, yeah, should have this. This was a fun game. I got worried when Landorus went down like that early, but man, Rotom put in work in this one. I guess I had some luck there because I landed every Will-O-Wisp, but Wash Rotom with those Will-O-Wisps enabled Zacian to stick around just long enough to give me the damage I needed. And then missing the first Hydro Pump, but then knocking Miraidon out with the next one. I mean, that's just storybook right there. So, I'm really impressed with this Rotom so far. I know a lot of people, including me, saw it as an unusual pick, but it's been putting in work, at least for me. It probably did in the regional too, seeing as it made top cut. I'll do open team sheets. That's fine. When I play this, the best of 1 ladder, if the opponent wants open team sheets, unless I have a really specific reason not to, it just feels polite to accept. Okay, an Ice Rider Roaring Moon team. How do I play into this? Can I just lead Rotom against this? It's Rapid Strike or Shifu. They don't have much in terms of Rotom answers, actually, except the Ogre Pawn. That's kind of funny. Can I lead Tornadus Rotom here? I think the alternative is Tornadus Landorus, but I think I'm going to bring Landorus in the back with Zacian. I still haven't brought Okidogi to a game, but again, I feel like if I see Rillaboom, Incineroar, or Shifu, or Incineroar or Mungus stuff at preview, that's probably the main matchup where Okidogi wants to show up. And again, maybe into like Torn Ogre stuff because it can deny the Tailwind, and with the Terra Grass Assault Vest, it can stand up to Ogre relatively well. That's probably something that it's for as well, actually. Because I'm not really sure how this team handles Torn Ogre otherwise. Maybe Rotom is useful there, but those Water Spots will still do a lot. Anyway, they do lead with the Ogre Pawn, which is the one Pokemon that I didn't want to see facing this lead, but it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to Tailwind and Will-O-Wisp. Follow me. Fair enough. I got a bit distracted there and didn't use my time very effectively, did I? Well, I'm just going to chance it. Actually, I'm going to Foul Play. Because this'll, if they follow me again, this will hit Ogre Pawn. And I'm going to Terra Dark so that Tornadus can take a hit and just go for Bleak Wind Storm. What I want to do here is remove this Ogre Pawn, if I can. In fact, maybe I should Foul Play the Ogre Pawn. I don't really want Rotom to take a big... Oh, it doesn't have Wood Hammer, it has Horn Leech. Alright, that's a little bit better. Yeah, Rotom does survive that. Foul Play does less than I'd like. And we don't get the KO. Okay. Yeah, that's a problem. I can get Zacian in here though. It's not even really worth, is it? I have to let somebody go down. Is the problem. That Glacial Lance is taking a KO this turn. There's not really anything I can do about that. Actually, it might be a roll on Rotom. But the point is, I'm just kind of stuck here. But yeah, I'll switch Zacian in, get through a turn of the Trick Room. Rotom does drop. Really not good for me. I actually think my win con at this point already... Okay, Trick Room is tough with this team, huh? I actually think my win con already is... It might just be spamming Protects. But what I'm actually going to do here is... I will protect the Landorus. Yeah, I've already used my Terra. If I still had the Terra Water on Zacian, I could try to get through another turn with that. But instead, I'm just fishing for double protects here. Sometimes the game gets away from you like that, you know? So those are the single protects. They Terra Fired the Ogerpon. And let's see if either of these Pokemon can get a double protect on the last turn of Trick Room. There's probably a decent chance that one of them does, right? But they don't. They high horsepower into Landorus. I guess they thought I'd switch. But they do take out Zacian, and now I have to win the game with Landorus, and I think that's going to be easier said than done. I would like to Rain Dance and Sandsear Storm and potentially get the burn on Calyrex, but I'm not sure that even saves me at this point. I think I might just have to Bleak Wind and Sandsear and hope that everything connects. Or, hang on. How much did Bleak Wind do when Ogerpon was a grass type? 63? I think I can Bleak Wind and Earth Power. No, I'm going to Bleak Wind and Sandsteer, and I just need everything to connect. Or my opponent can DC, that's also a win con. Okay, we knock out Ogerpon. Ooh, don't quite knock out Calyrex, and they get Trick Room back up. Alright. That'll do it, I think. Yeah, neither one of my Pokemon takes a Glacial Lance, ever, at this point, so it is just over. We'll go down swinging. And yeah, that opponent got me. On to the next game. Oh man, okay, alright. Shadow Rider, Dozogiri. You know what's funny? Wash Rotom might actually be one of my best Dondozo answers too. It probably is just my best one, because it resists Wave Crash and it has Will-O-Wisp. I mean, you know how this goes at this point. How do I beat Weezing? Landorus? Probably Landorus. Do I just lead Tornadus Landorus here? Okidogi could actually deny a Fake Out from an Iron Hands lead, but I don't know how likely that is. I think Tornadus Landorus or Tornadus Zacian? I think Tornadus Landorus is okay, and I bring Zacian and Rotom. Maybe I'm doing that thing where I tunnel vision into 4 Pokemon when I'm trying a team for the first time and I don't really give the others their due. But yeah, I don't know how to play this matchup with this team. So it goes sometimes. I'll just Tailwind here, I think, and... I can... Sandsear Storm. I'll just Earth Power Calyrex for guaranteed damage when the Roaring Moon might Terra Flying anyway. I really don't know how to play this turn. Guess that wasn't the way though. Okay, we both get Tailwind. So now their Calyrex is just a problem. I kind of want to taunt it so it can't set up nasty plots. Although that's not necessarily my greatest worry right now. I'll go Sandsear Storm. I can Rain Dance. Or I can taunt Calyrex. I'm going to Rain Dance so I can land the Sandsear. Landorus loses Life Orb. Calyrex knocks it out. And... yeah, I guess I just do need Okidogi for these matchups, because I don't see any way to win this already. Yeah, okay, Okidogi, as awkward as it looks, I think it is... I mean, maybe Urshifu. Actually, Scarf Urshifu could also put in a lot of work here. And I didn't bring that either, so I think I brought completely the wrong Pokemon to this one. I'm not sure whether this is the second or third loss of the video, so I'm going to play until one more. Because, yeah, I don't remember. Oh! You know what? I didn't consider that it might not be max speed Calyrex. It doesn't matter. It survives the Behemoth Blade. It does drop to its own Life Orb, but I'm not winning this with Rotom. I mean, okay, we'll try Rotom's last stand here, and we'll see how it goes. But... yeah, well, I think we know how that one's going to go. But... yeah, I'll keep playing because I think this might only be the second loss of the video if I'm misremembering. Oh well. But I think I brought completely the wrong Pokemon to this. Well, not necessarily. I mean, again, I talked up Zacian being a very fast restricted. I honestly kind of forgot that a lot of people are not running max speed on Shadow Rider anymore. In the VGC spaces I'm in, it kind of was conventional wisdom for a while very recently that you always run max speed on Shadow Rider. But I did hear that some people weren't doing... Played right into that one. I did hear that some people weren't doing that. So that's another way that Zacian's high speed is valuable, but even so, I think I brought the wrong Pokemon to this. We'll see if we get another of those. There's another Shadow Rider right off the bat. This is an interesting one. I mean, I think if I'm ever bringing Okidogi to a game, it's probably this. In fact, I'm going to lead it. With what, though? I could do Okidogi, Torn, Ursh, Zacian. Ursh is kind of rough into Suicune and Raging Bolt. Do I need Landorus? I feel like if I bring Landorus, I almost have to Terrasilize it, but then that makes it trickier into the Raging Bolt. I'm gonna bring what I said. I'm also a little bit worried that I'm going to get the Tailwind up turn 1 without enough offense on the board, but we'll see here what Okidogi can do. I could just taunt Suicune immediately, actually. And then if Tornadus gets through this turn, but that is a big if, I could have Tailwind and not them. I don't think it's worth it. I think I just Tailwind here. And I'll knock off the Bolt, or I can Gunk Shoot it. I'll go for knockoff. I don't know how to play Okidogi. Magnet, okay. They Icy Wind instead of Tailwinding. And it's Calm Mind Raging Bolt. It's a little bit scary. Big Gunk Shot? Terra Grass? Terra Grass is... I don't love it here. Let's Drain Punch, and I'll taunt Suicune now. I might then lose Torn to a Thunderbolt, but ooh, that Drain Punch does good damage. They Snarl, but it's covert. Okay, the Snarl doesn't really accomplish anything for them, but the Para on Okidogi is pretty bad news for me. Yeah, I might even want to Terra Grass here just to get through an electric attack. I think I will. Okidogi was very comfy against this Raging Bolt without that Para, but that's okay. It happens. I don't especially want to switch, so I'll just Bleak Wind. Protect. Sure. Oh, is Okidogi gonna have to take an Icy Wind now? I Terra'd so that it could survive a Thunderbolt this turn, but they got me with the Protect. Now they can just Dragon Pulse. And it's fully paralyzed anyway. And if they knock out Tornadus this turn, then I lose my Tailwind for the rest of the game. Okay, I'll go Urshifu. Urshifu also can potentially beat the Raging Bolt. I mean, it's really rough when I've already used my Terra on Okidogi, and Okidogi does just go down there. Okay. They can just Thunderclap now if they have it. Oh, they don't have it. Okay, that's good. In the back of my mind, I was playing around Thunderclap that whole time, and they don't even have it. Well, we can remove the Raging Bolt here, and Suicune doesn't look like it's threatening significant damage into Urshifu, so I'm not too bothered about the drops. Yeah. The speed drops are annoying. I meant that I'm not too bothered about the defense drops. I can taunt their Tornadus and switch out to Zacian. That seems pretty safe here. Again, the Suicune, I could have, like, Does Suicune get Scald? I don't think it does. But it could have something that threatens Zacian, but I'm not seeing it right now. Unfortunately, Zacian is not super threatening back into Suicune because it's so bulky and it resists Behemoth Blade. But yeah, Zacian doesn't care about taking a Snarl. We denied their Tailwind. Only have a couple turns left of mine, though. Urshifu has to Choice Lock itself for the rest of the game. I think I lock into Surging Strikes here. Yeah, I mean, I can't close combat their Shadow Rider Calyrex. I'll just have to beat Suicune. With Zacian, I guess. At least the Suicune isn't doing a lot of damage. But I think I double into Tornadus here, and I just let my Pokemon take an Icy Wind, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, so one turn of Tailwind left, -1 speed. If it's Calyrex, I assume it's Calyrex in the back. If they have Protect, then they can kind of just get me with that. But, well, I mean, they'll still take the Surging Strikes, but otherwise they can. But, that's how I have to play it at this point. It took too long to remove the Raging Bolt, with Okidogi getting paralyzed by that Thunderbolt. But they don't protect the Calyrex, and that means I will knock it out this turn. Zacian, -1, but in Tailwind, still going before Calyrex. Suicune does have Scald. It does get that. Interesting. It's a very sort of cold water type, you'd think. But hopefully I have enough damage into Suicune. We'll just have to play this out and find out. But Surging Strikes does 7% per hit, so 21. Okay, 7 to 10. So that's not terrible damage. Yeah, Zacian I think takes his Scald. Yep. Leftover Suicune, but it's still below half. So if I get good rolls and hit the play rough, this could be it. Doesn't look like that happened, but still, I don't think Suicune is beating Urshifu, right? I missed the play rough. Zacian actually survives the turn, so I get another shot at it, but also they forfeit. Okay, so yeah, that endgame against Suicune worked out, even if it got a little bit scary. Here we have a Lunala. Is this the team that won Vancouver? I think it probably is, right? Tail Room Lunala stuff. How do I play into that? Honestly, Okidogi might be good here. The Roaring Moon is a problem for it, but it can knock off the Lunala. And even as I say that, I'm not very convinced. But what do I have for Lunala? This looks like a really rough matchup, actually. How do I threaten Lunala with this team? I guess I just try to overwhelm it with Zacian. Okay, I need to make some choices. I guess I just try to overwhelm it with Zacian and maybe Urshifu. Okay, Indeedee, Lunala. They can get Trick Room pretty freely here if they want. Indeedee has a Rocky Helmet. Don't love that, but I guess I'll just Behemoth Blade anyway. And Bleak Wind Storm, because there's not a whole lot else for Tornadus to do here. They don't follow me, and I get a crit through the Shadow Shield. So Lunala took a lot of damage this turn. Getting the speed drops on both is kind of funny when I think they're setting Trick Room. They just take out Tornadus with the Meteor Beam, and there's the Trick Room. And we'll just see if I can beat Lunala from here. Step 1, I'm going to go Landorus. I'm going to click Behemoth Blade into Lunala. They can redirect that. I kind of want to... Actually, I should probably double protect this turn. Kill a turn of Trick Room. I was going to say I kind of want to protect with Landorus. But if they follow me, then I'm turning down any chance to get the damage on Lunala. So I think... But they just go Helping Hand, Expanding Force. Okay, what Pokemon is more valuable in the rest of this game? Landorus or Urshifu? I think it's probably Urshifu. Because Landorus is a little bit hard-pressed to threaten the Roaring Moon. They both have separate issues with the Roaring Moon, really. Okay, I'm going to read a Follow Me because they did the Helping Hand play last turn, and I'm going to click Sanseer Storm. They just go Helping Hand again. They'll knock out Landorus, but not Zacian, and I should be able to pick up the Lunala here. But now I'm down to just Zacian and Urshifu, and I don't feel as comfy about that as I did against the Suicune last game. Here I can Protect, and the Indeedee has... They haven't Terra'd yet, right? It's Terra Poison Landorus. I prefer that to Water right now, so that's something. The Rocky Helmet and Indeedee, though. Also, it's Psychic Terrain. I can't click Aqua Jet here, so I just have to Surging Strikes and hope for the best. There's the Terra Poison. They're not clicking Follow Me, though. They land the Sanseer Storm into Urshifu and knock it out. I'm down to just Zacian. I'll go for a double Protect, but I think this will be the end of the video. Some of these Trick Room matchups I've had some real trouble with this team. That's something that I've noticed. Oh, I get the double Protect. That's cool. But now I'm just going to not KO Landorus and get knocked out back. Anyway, yeah. This team has felt more... Well, okay, again. I never doubted that the team is good, but it's felt more solid than I understood when I was looking at the pace. But I will say I've had trouble with these Trick Room matchups in this video. I'm sure the creator put a lot of work into that I'm not privy to. I don't need to repeat myself over and over. But yeah, the Taunt on Tornadus is not much of an anti-Trick Room tool when a lot of them are running for Farigiraf or Indeedee. And fast offensive Pokemon like Zacian, Scarfer, and Landorus, I'm finding get pretty overwhelmed. Get overwhelmed pretty easily by these Trick Room teams. Maybe that's where the bulkier pieces in Okidogi and Rotom need to be played better than I'm playing them. I don't know. They're not really Pokemon I'm used to. But overall, this team has still actually been pretty solid. It has some really interesting meta calls on it with the Zacian and the Landorus. And the Rotom put in, honestly, a lot more work even in this video than I expected. So, wash Rotom in Vancouver 12 years later. Still doing it, still showing that it has what it takes to be a valued member of a team. And as someone who's been playing Pokemon for a long time, I haven't been playing VGC for a long time. I was several years away from even trying it when Aaron Zhang missed those Will-O-Wisps, but it's really cool to see at this point an older Pokemon like Rotom still putting in work. So I enjoyed this team a lot. I always like to see some unusual Pokemon choices in the paste, and again, even though it took me some thinking to figure out some game plans with this one, it actually proved pretty solid in a lot of matchups. Some matchups were tough, like this one, but really cool team, really enjoyed using it.